Hey everyone, Ross Whitley here, meteorologist, and checking out the snowstorm for the southeast. It is developing as we speak, and we've got the watches and warnings out already in place. We talked about what was the setup for this event yesterday or 2 days ago. I'm not quite sure when I uploaded that, but I think it was yesterday. But we are underway with this event, or at least starting to. So all of that fire activity in Southern California, thanks to the same surface low pressure, helping to drag those winds over the mountaintops there, and then dry conditions and winds spark wildfires. So there you go. We've got moisture ejecting out into the Gulf, and our low pressure system that's going to be ejecting across the southeast. As mentioned before, we're going to see a low pressure system develop to the south of Houston here, and it should track something like that and then out like that. So northeast folks, sorry, you're missing out on this one. I told you this trough back here may not actually phase with our piece of energy, and it looks like it's not going to. So this piece of energy will work down, and it'll kind of just push this piece of energy off to the east. Some of the moisture associated with this will end up dropping some extra snow back this way, and that is reasons why we'll probably see higher amounts further off on the eastern side as opposed to on the downsloping side of the Appalachians, so the east side into the Carolinas, where I think this event is going to be wanting something. We may still get some surprises there, but for the most part, you're probably looking at far less precipitation through here. In reality, you're probably going to get a lot of mixing in here as well. So sleet, freezing rain, really cut down on any kind of snow totals. So if you're wanting snow in the Carolinas, you probably have to go to the higher elevations, and you got to avoid the valleys. If you want a big boomer, you probably want to come down into this area. That's probably where most of this moisture is going to get wrung out. And if I had to bet, I would actually say it's probably going to end up being right there, where the little bit of a warm air lift can help to add some lift onto that too. So this probably ends up being a pretty big snow event for, I would say, southeastern portions of Tennessee, and then continue going right along the Tennessee line and then back across this way like that. So if you just go up through here, this is probably the axis of heaviest snow. And then it may end up tilting off to the north from there, but by the time the low gets to us, it's really going to be petering out as far as intensity goes, and then just kind of fading to the east as the upper level piece of energy takes over up here. So that'll be as that trough takes over, that'll kick out that way. It should lead to some light snow up across the northeast, but for the most part, not a whole lot going on up there. So switching this over to our radar, and we can look at the reflectivity here, maybe. Or let's go back over to satellite, and we'll go to the enhance. That's what we were already on. Let's do the water vapor. So we got the water vapor here, and this is going to give you an idea of what's going on currently. So you can see our swirl happening right there. So there's our low pressure system right here, and all of our moisture ejection there. So what we're waiting on is a low pressure system to develop here, and as that happens, you're going to start to see snow and ice develop back across this way and then track off to the east and northeast. So what are we looking at as far as totals, accumulations, that kind of stuff? What do we have going on? I'm not quite sure what I have up for the forecast stuff here, but we're going to go into our modeling here. So this is some of the Barron products. If I'm not supposed to show you this, oops, sorry. But we have the wind out of the north and northwest overnight tonight. High pressure is in control across the southeast. So tonight we're going to see the temperatures bottom out in a lot of locations. The coldest night we've had across the southeast for this week will likely happen tonight in many locations. Calm winds, radiational cooling will allow us to really bottom out to those dew points. So a lot of low-lying spots are going to be well below the advertised forecast lows tonight. And our cold favored spots here in the Panhandle, sorry that I just popped that mic, but our cold favored spots here in the Panhandle will probably end up in the lower 20s. So a lot of locations across the southeast, and the cold favored spots will end up colder than normal as opposed to maybe the last couple of nights where we've been right around the forecast across the board with everyone because we're keeping things mixed. So looking at this, we can see by the time we get to noon on Thursday, we've got freezing rain, sleet, and snow developing across central Texas, our low pressure system developing around Corpus Christi. Most of the day here is going to be mixed precip, snow, freezing rain. Now right along the Red River back to maybe Denton, Texas, going further off to the north into Oklahoma, Durant, those areas, You may stay all snow and end up with higher totals, but basically all of these locations where you see the pink showing up here, you're going to get mixing. It's going to cut down on snow totals. You're going to get a lot of sleet. You're going to get some freezing rain, so I wouldn't count on the snow totals being incredibly awesome. Now, just on the north side of that mixing, that's where we're going to get some really heavy snow to fill in. So places like Little Rock, going back down to Texarkana, might end up being boomers. You might actually get some bigger snowfalls out of that. And then I really believe here as we go right along the Tennessee border, so Memphis, going to Huntsville, and then back up to Chattanooga, that's probably where we're going to see the biggest snowfalls, where we can avoid any kind of mixing and we can stay all snow. Those are going to have the highest precipitation rates. Those are going to have the highest moisture values. Now, will they be the best snow ratios? No, but I think this event is going to be all about where is the moisture falling. And you can see how much weaker the system looks by the time it starts to work into our area. And I expect that trend to continue. I know the GFS has been ramping it up, and even the Euro kind of does it a little bit into the morning hours on Friday. By the time we get to Friday afternoon, this really is an overrunning moisture event with the upper level low up here taking control. You can actually see the wind field. That's kind of taking the energy here. And it takes the sting out of the surface low further off to the south. But across the Panhandle here, we'll see the rain develop, shower activity will actually warm up into the 60s, and then as we go into Friday evening, we'll see the wind really pick up and the temperatures crash into Saturday morning. Saturday, a cold day, and then it is Saturday night. If we can clear out the cloud cover, we might bottom out across the southeast once again Saturday night, and wherever there is snowpack, it will be very, very cold across the southeast. Snow, ice, whatever, it doesn't matter. Dry air overrunning any kind of moisture has an evaporative cooling effect, and we'll see those temperatures end up being much, much colder. That's usually how we get record lows in a lot of locations. It's usually after a snowfall, Arctic air masses over the top of it. We see those temperatures really crash. So that's usually how you get record lows. If you're hoping for a colder pattern, well, we get another front to work on through as we get into Monday and Tuesday, and we keep the cold air around. So if you're disappointed in this snow event, you can look by next Wednesday. We got a similar setup happening. Not as much cold air across the country, but it looks like we may get reinforcing shots of colder air as we head into the middle of the month. So we may see more chances at snow across the southeast. I still don't see anything for the deep south here as a real possibility, but for the areas that saw snow or getting ready to see snow, may have another chance at it again as we go through the next couple of weeks, because the cold pattern is staying in place. Really looks like the cold pattern is going to be with us through January for the most part, relative to average. So every location is different. Everybody is different as far as how cold is and cold tolerance. Obviously, the South doesn't handle cold very well because the South doesn't winterize like the North does. And, you know, it's the same thing with snow. Most people say, well, the North can drive in the snow. And the answer is kind of. Most locations can't really drive in the snow. It's just that some states are better than others at clearing the roads and keeping the roads from getting treacherous. When roads get bad, I can tell you, it doesn't matter who you are or where you are. I don't know what just happened, but my computer just completely freaked out on me. But it doesn't matter who you are or where you are. When there's 4 to 7 inches of snow on the ground or on the road, and you're driving on it, unless you are highly experienced in driving in snow, meaning you do it for a living, you're probably not very good at it. So most places, even places that think they're good in driving in the snow, really aren't. They're just much better at clearing the roads in the snow. However, the South is not good at it. So the South doesn't handle road clearing very well. Usually gets the interstates pretty well done, but outside of that, the secondary roads going back into neighborhoods and things like that, with the colder air sticking around, you're probably seeing snow and ice in those locations for some time to come, mainly because we just don't have the snow removal equipment across the South that other areas really invest in being able to remove that snow, because it's much more necessary. So for those getting ready to get some snow and ice, prep and be ready. There's certainly the potential from Tennessee, northern Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, and portions of Texas for a nice big boom here. I think in the Carolinas, you're really going to struggle for moisture, but it will be the first snow that has happened in a long time. But for the most part, you're probably wringing out maybe 1 or 3 inches of snow across the Carolinas, and then probably a decent bit of mixing sleet or freezing rain to happen on top of that. So probably not the snow event you want in the Carolinas, but hey, it's some wintry weather and we haven't had any there, or at least they haven't had any there in quite some time. As far as the rest of the Southeast goes, we just highlighted who was going to see what and really where the best potential was as well. So we'll check back again in probably a couple of days. We may do it again tomorrow since we've got an event going on.